it's funny how a common enemy brings people together in a superficial way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how like the conservatives in America were much more united when Biden was asleep at the helm. As now you have Trump at the helm, and it's like, okay, the common enemy in some sense, right, at least politically speaking, and even in Hollywood and big tech, they seem to be less aggressive maybe. Now the conservatives all at each other's throat. It feels to me like that's kind of what happened to the new atheism, that they were united in pointing at religious people and making fun of them. But then when they maybe were challenged or invited to propose some kind of worldview that would either support or see as ridiculous, like transgenderism or the threat of Islam, I don't know. I don't know what your take is on it, but for me, it seems like it started coming apart.
Yeah, I always felt, even as an atheist, a little bit weird about some of the efforts of Sam Harris, for example, to try to construct objective morality without a God. He tried to construct some sort of way that we could know right and wrong objectively without appealing to a lawgiver, as we would say. And even as an atheist, I was like, that kind of seems like an uphill battle and not really necessary. Like we could just do away with the idea of having morality at all. But there's obvious reasons why you don't want to do that too. So,
did you have any, like, what was your favorite argument for atheism at the time? Since you're reading these people and going to their conferences, and did you have any? Or
I think I believed a lot in the God of the gaps argument. That okay, people think that there's a God because everything's here. We don't know how it got here. We don't know how life started exactly, but we just need to investigate more in scientifically, and
those
then we'll find an
gaps
answer.
will disappear.
Yeah,
and then God will disappear with them.
Right.
Yeah. So was it more like, I don't need a compelling argument for atheism. I just find all the arguments for theism unconvincing.
Yeah, it was like the Dillahunty kind of approach, where it's like, I'm starting from a default position of I don't believe your proposition, and now you need to convince me.
Yeah.
And if you don't convince me, that's your fault, essentially.
What do you think about that tactic now?
It's kind of cowardly, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it should be. Yeah. I think William Lane Craig always did a really good job at putting it back on the atheist. He, like, defining the three terms, atheist, theist, agnostic, and to see if there's any good reason to think either theism or atheism is true. And then very often they would expose themselves as agnostics. You know? Yeah. Yeah, cool. So did you have atheist friends?
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like a contemptuous sort of attitude towards Christians?
Very much so. Yeah, I was very militantly atheist. I thought religion should be illegal.
Illegal?
I thought it was child abuse to raise a child with religion.
Whoa.
All kinds of stuff like that. I was daily listening to like atheist podcasts.
Yeah.
Or just reinforcing that Christianity's stupid. And so I was very much on that side of things. And then the way that turned around was a friend who was a Christian, who I knew from high school. I was posting stuff on Facebook, and I think I posted like a Joe Rogan clip or something of Joe Rogan used to have this line about, well, all we have is translations of translations of translations, and we don't even understand the original language, and so therefore we could never know what the original Bible actually said. I posted something like that on Facebook, and a friend of mine from high school was like, that's actually not true. Like, I can show you the manuscripts, and like, that's not how translations work. We don't just make a translation and then throw out the old copy. Like, we have access to tens of thousands of manuscripts that actually all agree with each other, even though there was no central authority dictating, at least early on, what to write down. We have multiple continents, and all of them agree on what the Bible says. So,
how did you react when you?
I was like, oh, what the heck, Joe Rogan?
Immediately, or because I find that social media is not usually a place to do deep thinking and good arguing. It tends just to be reflexive. You're stupid. No, you're stupid.
Right.
So you're saying he commented under a post you put?
Yeah. Or he might have messaged me.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly, but
Was he a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he still is to this day. He's a great guy. But once I was confronted with the evidence, I was like, okay, well, I guess that argument isn't really good. I didn't know that, but Christianity is still not true, obviously. But I guess I can't use that argument.
Go and download Truthly. It's a platform bringing honest conversations and real answers to life's toughest questions. All right, so then what happened?
So then we had an ongoing kind of conversation about things like that. And he had another friend who I think was going to Bible college or something at the time, and he was very smart as well. And they were presenting arguments a bunch of different like philosophical arguments. I can't remember exactly which ones, but I'm assuming the ones that Thomas Aquinas would propose as well. And none of them were very convincing to me, even though maybe they should have been. I was just not open to it. And it eventually culminated in us talking about evidence for the resurrection. And I came across Inspiring Philosophy's series, multiple series actually. He has one on the historicity of the New Testament, which is really good. And he has one on the evidence for the resurrection. Yeah. Really good playlist on his channel.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Yeah.
Michael Jones, yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I'm going to debate them, I should go to their sources and see what do they say about this stuff. So I went there and I was like, all right, I'm still not convinced, but I didn't know that they actually thought evidence was important at all. So the fact that they're even appealing to evidence was at least a little bit impressive to me. I was like, oh, okay. They're not just like, well, because it feels good to believe this, so we're going to believe it. They're like, no, actually, if you look at the historical records, even outside of the Bible, people are talking about this widespread belief that Jesus rose from the dead. And I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting. So like none of that really pushed me over the edge, but it was at least giving me more respect for the belief system as a whole. And then funnily, I actually became politically conservative and pro-life before I became a Christian.
Whoa, how did that happen?
I heard, I think it was like Ben Shapiro's fault or something. Yeah. So if anybody wants to blame Ben
Good
Shapiro.
for him.
Yeah, it's a good thing to be blamed for. It was either him or somebody associated with him who was making a case for pro-life. And I always thought that it was only on religious grounds that one would be pro-life. And then it was like, no, life is just a human right. And the baby in the womb is a human. So they are afforded that right as well. I was like, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I never thought about it that way. So I became pro-life. I actually wrote a really old like blog post that I had at the time about, I think I titled it like a non-religious case for pro-life or something like that, non-religious pro-life case. And it's just appealing to, as a country, we recognize that these rights are important and they're afforded to every human. They're human, so there you go.
In college?
At this time, yeah, I was in college at this time. Yeah.
Did you feel kind of sophisticated getting to be an atheist while defending the pro-life position? Like, look how intellectually open I am?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's true, by the way. I'm not just saying it like it sounded like I was mocking it, but I could also see the kind of like, the prideful incentive of like, look how diverse my thoughts are. I'm a real free thinker, which, by the way, I think you were if you, denied God's existence, were an atheist and yet started. So did you have atheist friends that you would talk to about this or?
Yeah. Not really like vehement atheists like I was, but just people who were maybe non-religious, just kind of agnostic or lived as if there were no God, but didn't have any strong opinions about it. But were pro-choice. And I'd be like, it's just because you haven't heard my argument that doesn't appeal to a God
I would think that if God doesn't exist, abortion is fine.
You think that it is fine? Or
I would think abortion is fine if
of course.
God does not exist.
Everything's fine if God doesn't exist.
Yeah, but I guess I mean something a little bit more than that. I think there are good reasons to obviously prohibit, murder and child abuse outside of the womb and things like this, because to do so would just allow for kind of chaos and mayhem. But, there are certain things like euthanasia and abortion that I think would be okay. So why not just take that position? Why not say, well, the state affords the right to life to people. The unborn are human, but who cares? Like, let's just not afford the right to life to them. Did you ever think about? I'm sure you thought about that.
I'm trying to put myself back in those shoes, but I think what I would have thought back then is that consistency of principles mattered.
Okay.
Even if I didn't have a divine source of those principles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's good. Thank you very much for watching that Pints with Aquinas clip. If you like it, do me a favor, click like and subscribe, and please offer a Hail Mary for the work of Pints with Aquinas and all the people we're trying to reach. God bless you.